Hi, good day all of you. Welcome to our session. Welcome to our channel Intelligible Tutorials. In this session, we are going to talk about Navi-Bayes theorem. This is considered as the first method of the classification. See, in the classification methods, we have the first method is Navi-Bayes theorem. The silent features of the Navi-Bayes theorem now we are going to see. The first one, it's a classification and it's efficient classification for high dimensional text data. It can be used to classify only the text data, so which is very high dimensional text data. So classifies the text data only, like what are the various text data that we have, that is like for example sentiment analysis is one example for the text classification, and as well as the second one is nothing but classification of the articles, classification of the documents. All these are the various examples. So sentiment analysis is one application of this, or one example of this, and the second one is text or document or article classification. It can be used for. So these are the main important things we need to remember regarding the Navi-Bayes theorem. Some more important points are also there that we are going to see. It's an efficient classification which provide a better way for making decisions on the classification to provide very good decision support systems. Efficient classification and supervised learning technique. Being a classification technique, it obviously is supervised learning technique. The next, we are going to talk about why the name is given as Navi-Bayes. What is the meaning of the Navi and what is the meaning of the Bayes? First we see why the name is given as Navi. See, in the problem, whatever data set we have taken, the data set is nothing but the collection of various number of the features. While working with the Navi-Bayes theorem, each and every feature is independent with the other feature. So to support that particular thing, whatever it is, to select a particular data item, to map it into the particular class to which it is mapped into, to which it is should be mapped into, some number of the features must support to the data item to fall under that particular class. Let us take one example, that is tiger. So it's an animal actually. So whenever it has to fall under animal category, and particularly tiger category, it has with particular features. All the features are independent to other animals. These features are directly independent to the other animals. What are the various features? The color of the animal, it is different from others, and the size of the animal. So it may be somewhat similar, some may not be similar to other animals, and it comes under wild category. So, and all these things, these features that support, that comes under the tiger is the animal, and as well as it's a wild animal, basing on the color yellow and having stripes in it, it's concluded as it's a tiger. So these are all these things how we came to know with the help of this feature set only. With the help of this feature set. These feature set is independent of the other feature set of the data set. Whatever feature set is there in the Navi-Bayes theorem, each and every individual feature is independent of the other feature. There is no relation among the number of the features. Hence we can say it's a Navi. And all these features are collectively supporting to that particular data item called tiger that fall under the class called the animal, and it is one kind of the class, another class is there that is called the tiger. We can say that's a tiger. See, why we can say it's an animal, why we can say it's a tiger because of this color, because of this size, because of this wild, that means the characteristic of being wild, that's an animal and that comes under the wild animal. So like that, each and every feature is irrelevant here. So all these things are, each and every feature is not dependent on another. So hence it is called as Naive. In the Naive-Bayes theorem, this feature independentation is one of the major issue and as well as one of the advantage also. So that we will see later. So this is nothing but the Naive-Bayes theorem. Naive. So what is the meaning of the Bayes theorem? This particular theorem is based on a concept called Bayes theorem. So hence it is called mathematical probabilistic thing. It is dependent upon the Bayes theorem. Hence it is called as Naive plus Bayes theorem. It is called as Naive-Bayes theorem. And one more thing we need to remember is whatever classification it will done, that will be based on the probability. So this kind of the classification is called as probabilistic classification. Probabilistic classification. So classification done based on some probability measures. It calculates some kind of the probability measures. Based on that, it can conclude that that particular data item will comes under that, or simply discrete data as yes or no, or true or false, or the rain will fall or not, or the gender is male or female, either the given sentence is true or false. Like that, the discrete conclusion in the classification by using this particular algorithm is based on the probability formula it is based on. So how it will work, now we are going to see what is the formula given for this and how it works and what are the pros and cons of this Naive-Bayes algorithm. Now we are going to see. Probability of A by B is given as probability of B on A, probability of A and probability of B. This is the formula given for Bayes theorem or Naive-Bayes theorem. So what is this probability of A? It is nothing but hypothesis of before evidence. What is the probability of B? The margin probability, or max probability, and probability of A by B is equal to probability of hypothesis A on evidence B. Probability of B by A is equal to probability of evidence B on hypothesis A. So here we need to know some set of the terminologies for this problem. We are new to some of the terminologies, that is hypothesis and evidence. What is the meaning of hypothesis and what is the meaning of evidence? Now we are going to see. For this I am clearing this formula now. What is the meaning of the hypothesis? Actually, hypothesis. It's a sentence or a fact without evidence. That is called as hypothesis. That means it need to be strong with the collection of the evidences. Whenever the supporting evidences or the collection of evidences are correctly given that, then this hypothesis will become strong. Okay. So the next one is nothing but evidence. Evidence means the facts are the things that support this hypothesis. To make this hypothesis as stronger, we need to collect some set of the evidences. These are the supporting things or facts that support this particular evidences, that support this particular hypothesis. For example, we will see what is the meaning of hypothesis and what is the meaning of evidence. Here we see one good example. For example, you assume a hypothesis that is nothing but a person having malaria. So this is the hypothesis. To make this hypothesis as stronger, we need to collect some set of the evidences. Evidence 1 is nothing but the person is having fever. That fever also especially evenings. And evidence 2, cold and cough. Evidence 3, shivering. So all these evidences are collectively supporting, making stronger this particular hypothesis as person having malaria. And some of the non-supporting evidences are also there, that is leg pain, fracture. For example, these are not relevant to malaria. So these are not called as evidences for this particular hypothesis. So we consider that this as the hypothesis and these are the evidences. So the hypothesis without evidences is called the hypothesis. So whenever it supports these evidences, it is called as a fact actually. Like this, the hypothesis and evidences are noun in this particular terminology called Navier-Bayes theorem. And now we see what are the various advantages and as well as the disadvantages are also there for the Navier-Bayes theorem. After watching that, we will see one real-time example how this Navier-Bayes theorem will work. So we will see one example based on that in the next video. Before that, we see what are the advantages and disadvantages of this Navier-Bayes theorem. First, we are writing the advantages. Navier-Bayes theorem is an efficient and good classification. It's an efficient and good classification. And for what kind of the data it can classify? It always classify the text classification and high dimensional text, that too high dimensional. So high dimensional text classification it can do. So disadvantages are also there for this. What are the disadvantages? We are going to see. Number 1, for each and every for each and every data item, it need to compute some posteriori probability, priori probability and conditional probability of each and everything. That means to calculate P of A by B, it has to calculate P of B by A first for each and everything. And it has to calculate P of A, it has to calculate P of B, then only it can calculate the P of A by B. So to get this result, you need to calculate all these things. Okay, so for this, it requires more computations. Okay, so what are the more computations means? It requires more space, and to compute all these computations, it requires more time and more computations. Computations are more. Next, as the data set becomes longer, obviously the space, time and computational complexities are also increasing. Hence, this algorithm also will become increasing. Complexity is increasing. So, as the data set size increasing, space, time and computation complexities are increasing. So this is one of the disadvantage of this particular Navier-Bayes theorem. And one more disadvantage here we need to see is the features we have discussed prior in the Navier-Bayes theorem. All the features are irrelevant there is no dependency of the features with each other. That is one of the disadvantage. So no feature dependency. So it's a major drawback of this Navibase. So like this, we have so many pros and cons are also there for Navibase, and even though it is having its own disadvantages, it is good classification for the text data and high dimensional text data, which are best examples for this text classification are sentiment analysis and as well as classification of the articles and documents. So we can see like this. In the classification, it is one of the best method and first method for smaller data sets. It works well and efficient manner, and as well as for the text classification, it is very good method for classifying the text and labeling the data of the articles and as well as the text. So this is nothing but the Navibase theorem. In our next video, we see this Navibase theorem with the relevant examples. So if you like this video, please subscribe Intelligible Tutorials channel. Thank you.